Have you ever just solved a massive problem? Or finally made it through a really brutal stretch of time? You could finally breathe. That feeling of, okay, it's over. And then, right in that moment, you did something you regretted for years. Not at the lowest point. Not when things were hardest. But exactly in the moment you finally let your guard down. Most people think danger lives in difficulty. But so many times, the most dangerous moment is the one where you feel like you're finally safe. After leaving Troy, Odysseus encountered two things. One made his people forget where they were going. The other made him spend the next 10 years paying for a single impulsive moment. Both happened during the most relaxed stretch, right after the war was over. Odysseus left Troy with 12 ships. The journey home had begun. Their first stop was a place whose people were known as the Lotus Eaters. They survived on lotus flowers. That was what they ate. Odysseus sent a few men ashore to scout. Those men made contact with the locals. The locals offered them the lotus to eat, fresh from 10 years of war. Finally relaxed, they didn't think twice. They ate. And then, those men didn't want to go home anymore. Not threatened, not locked up. They just didn't want to leave. After eating the lotus, they forgot home, forgot where they were going, forgot who they were. They only wanted to stay on that island forever. Odysseus had to drag them back to the ship by force. The men walked and cried. They said, "I don't want to go. Please, don't make me leave." Odysseus gave the order. "Move out. Now, get everyone away from that flower." After leaving the Lotus Eaters, they landed on another island. That island was home to the Cyclopes. One of them was the son of Poseidon himself, the leader of the Cyclopes, Polyphemus. Odysseus took some men and walked into Polyphemus's cave. They ate and drank. The giant came home, found them there, sealed them in with a massive boulder, and began eating the crew. Odysseus came up with a plan. He gave the giant strong wine. Got him drunk. The giant asked his name. Odysseus said, "My name is Nobody." When the giant passed out, Odysseus and his men heated a wooden stake and drove it into the giant's only eye. The giant's screams shook the mountain. The other Cyclopes came to the entrance and called out, "What's wrong? Who hurt you?" Polyphemus screamed back, Nobody hurt me." The others thought everything was fine and left. Odysseus hid his men under the sheep, and when the giant opened the cave to let them out, they escaped one by one. He did it. The ship set sail, and then Standing at the bow, he turned back toward the cave and shouted, "Hear me! It was Odysseus who did this to you. Son of Laertes, Odysseus of Ithaca." He just had to let that giant know who beat him. Polyphemus heard the name. He prayed to his father Poseidon. He cursed Odysseus. Let him never reach home. Or if he does, let him lose every last crew member. Let him arrive alone. Poseidon heard it. That one moment of needing to be known cost Odysseus 10 more years. Let me go back to the lotus eaters first. What does that lotus flower look like today? Maybe it's the short videos you open and can't stop. Each one just short enough, just interesting enough to keep you going. An hour passes, 2 hours. You don't remember what you watched. The lotus could be the drink after work that becomes 2 drinks, that becomes something you need to sleep. The lotus could be, I just need to relax for a bit. 3 months later, and you still haven't started the thing you said you would. The most terrifying thing about the lotus is not that it makes you suffer. It makes you feel fine. Those crew members, after eating the lotus, weren't in pain. They were comfortable. That comfort was the whole problem. You cannot use pain to convince someone who feels fine that they should leave. Odysseus knew this. He didn't try to reason with them. He just dragged them out. Is there a lotus in your life? Something that makes you feel okay, while you slowly forget where you were going. Now the boast. Odysseus escaped the Cyclops cave, in the darkest hole, with wine, with cleverness, with a burning stake. He defeated a giant. He got the survivors out alive. That was a moment worth being proud of. But he did something. Once on the ship, once they were safe, the ship already moving, he couldn't stop himself from turning back toward that cave and shouting his own name. Why? Because he could not accept that the one who beat that giant would forever be known as nobody. Odysseus couldn't live with a victory where no one knew who won. Psychology calls this self-serving bias. When people succeed, they need to credit themselves for it. They need others to know that it was me. I did this. In normal circumstances, that's not a big problem. You did something good. You tell people. That's reasonable. But let's look at Odysseus' situation. He was boasting to the son of a god. He was doing it at the exact moment he barely escaped. His crew, before he shouted, begged him to stop. Don't say anything more. He'll hear you. Odysseus couldn't hold it in. The moment right after a victory is often one of the least rational moments a person can have. You just came out of pressure. Adrenaline is still running, but your judgment has already started to drop. That is when you most want to do the thing you least should do. Because many people don't lose at the point of failure. They lose at the moment of success. These two stories placed together are saying the same thing. People are most likely to get in trouble when they relax. The Lotus Eaters is the slow relaxation. One flower at a time. One video at a time. Slowly forgetting where you were going. The Cyclops is the sudden relaxation. Just escape danger. Immediately made a decision that pulled you back into worse danger. Both are extremely common. Have you ever made it through the hardest stretch and started letting yourself go? And then the letting go lasted longer than you expected, went deeper than you expected. Have you ever been in a negotiation, an argument, a situation you just won, and couldn't stop yourself from saying one more thing? The thing you didn't need to say. And that one thing changed everything. Before Odysseus shouted his name, his crew begged him to stop. He didn't hear them, or he heard them, but in that moment, couldn't take it in. Have you ever had someone next to you saying, "Enough, you can stop now," and you didn't stop? The Lotus Eaters tell you, comfort is the quietest trap. It doesn't hurt you. It just slowly makes you forget where you were going. The Cyclops tells you, your most vulnerable moment is not failure. It is the moment right after success. That is when you are most likely to do something you normally wouldn't. Odysseus was the smartest person in the Odyssey, but he almost lost his crew on the Lotus Eaters' island. And leaving the Cyclops' cave, one sentence cost him 10 years. So being smart cannot protect you. In fact, smart people are more likely to fall into both of these traps. Because smart people are more likely to believe, I can control everything. But the Lotus doesn't ask how smart you are. It only asks, how long has it been since you thought about where you were going? And the moment after victory doesn't ask how smart you are either. It only asks, how badly do you want people to know that you won? I want to ask you two things before we close. Is there a lotus in your life right now? Something that makes you feel fine, while slowly you forget where you were headed. And after your most recent success, did you do something you didn't need to do? Because the world is never what you think it is. Wu Talks World, see you next time.